Hi, I'm Eleanor with Girls Globe, and I'm here at Women Deliver 2019 in Vancouver, Canada. I'm delighted to be joined this morning by the CEO of Plan International AB. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Eleanor. It's great to be here.
First of all, I wondered if you could start by telling us a bit about Plan's new campaign, Girls Get Equal.
Yeah, Girls Get Equal is the world's largest youth-designed and youth-led campaign. We're very proud of the fact that it has been designed by youth themselves, because when we decided to have a new global campaign, if we are to be truly a girls' rights organization, we also have to make sure that what we produce and what we do is produced by youth. So that's the first part. What are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve equal power, equal freedom, and equal representation for all girls. Equal power, obviously, the power to be heard, the power to be allowed to sit at the right tables whenever there's a decision made about them. Equal freedom for us is really freedom from any kind of harassment and abuse in public spaces, online, everywhere. And representation for us is all about how are girls depicted. Way too often we see girls as victims or girls as underempowered, certainly not as leaders and as powerful professionals in their own right. So the whole issue of gender stereotyping will be taken on in this campaign too.
Awesome, it sounds great. So this week we've been speaking a lot about power, and we've heard the phrase a lot of times, the power of we. I was wondering if you could explain what that means for you.
So we, I believe, is one of the strongest words in the English language. There is absolutely nothing that any of us can achieve without some kind of teamwork. For me, it's both a small we, that our personal achievements are always based on working with others, the support of others, the encouragement of others, and then the very, very big we, the global movement for girls and women's rights that has so powerfully come together here at Women Deliver. So it's at least both those two issues.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. And then I wondered if you could talk a little bit about how senior leaders like yourself can pass that power down and make sure it goes into the hands of the next generation.
First of all, I think it's a must, and I think it's really difficult. In some ways, we can create spaces like I explained around the design of our campaign. We can invite them in and say, we're doing something new, come in here and be our lead designers and planners here. But when it comes to very large organizations like Plan International and bureaucracies with their own systems, etc., it becomes really difficult because we've got all sorts of rules and for how things are done. That there's a certain donor pressure around different things, but we have to be really, really conscious. And every time we think, who can do this, who can we bring on board, etc., see whether we have young people on our staff that should be lifted up and be given opportunities earlier, etc. It's something that we at Plan International are actually now, immediately after Women Deliver, we're going to go off with all our leaders and have what we call a global leadership conference and ask ourselves exactly that question. How can we all consciously break the barriers and bring our young talent in the organization into conversations where real decisions are taken, and how can we bring those that we work with more into the design of what we do.
That's great. Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what comes out of that conference. So today we're on the final day of Women Deliver. I wonder how you think we can take the energy and the momentum that we've seen this week and take it further so it doesn't just stay here.
So at least for us, at Plan International, it means exactly what I was just saying, that we will be working very much with ourselves. I mean, there are so many thoughtful things that have been said about how we use power, how we need to step back, how we need to work differently as individuals and as organizations. And so our first step will be, we are going to take the learning and drive it into this organization that has 80 offices around the world and really make it real. And there in those countries, I think the Women Deliver momentum will continue. Already before the conference, of course, there were so many satellite events. There have been so many viewings. There has been so many built up. And now it's our obligation, all of us, to go back and say, hey, we had some really great meetings before. Now let's have those meetings again and see what did we learn, what can we take away, and how can we drive it further into these countries.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you for joining us.